Hey everybody. So having a little bit about tech issues. We won't get into it, but anyway, let's get started here and just letting everybody jump in. And I have some news loading, and so we're gonna get through it all. I just for those of you an M3 active trader, posted a pretty interesting article you might want to go read about. How's everyone doing? Just a shout out to M3 members. KS, Mike, and Pirate J. Haven't seen you in a while. What's the latest with Pirate Chain? Let's see. Scott, hey, Nathan, Francisco, and Dr. T is here. Ray, a lot of M3 members. Good stuff. All right, guys. Yeah, what goes up must come down as the TLDR, and we are recording, and we are recording the AI notes of this, by the way, so you guys can check that later. Myron sends that out afterward. I do have some news to get through. And so, look, we the markets got spooked here. It's these Tuesday sell-offs. If you are new here, we did a study a while back about how the biggest sell-off days are Tuesdays. It's not clear why that is, but we're seeing the majority of those big sell-offs happening, but at least we're holding the 21-day EMA. I will point out, and by the way, this is Crypto Mastery class, so we're going to really focus on training how to use the indicators, and as we go through the charts and some news. And if you are interested in more in-depth analysis, we have a more in-depth class on Wednesdays called M3 Active Trader, and you can learn more about that at our website, moonstream.io, and also with the signals. And we had a special on Friday, but are having emails delivery issues, and so all this technology stuff, it works when it wants to. And so anyway, moonstream.io slash M3. I'll pull that up in a little bit if you want to let a bit more in-depth information. For some reason, nothing's working today. Feels like a Monday. All right, so our ERI, our early reversal indicator, hence the name, this red arrow showing bearish, and this also bearish engulfing candle. Guys, we have the secret cheat code, though. We have the big sell block here, and we've learned to respect these. Yesterday's push up higher, I don't know what triggered that. May have been somewhat of a short squeeze. And there's a lot of, I've been saying for 6 months or more, a battle for 100K would be an epic battle, right? And so certainly we had this whole push up here, liquidated a bunch of shorts, dropped it down. I actually proposed, I don't know if you guys remember this, I said this is likely going to happen. They would push it up, liquidate longs or liquidate shorts, get everybody leveraged long, and then they'd pull it down again. So because there's such a battle around here, namely the market makers know they need to make their money in this range before they let prices really go up, because that's where they are taking the other side of the trade, right? So there's a lot of nuances there, and then derivatives, things like that. It's a mind-boggling now, a number of variations, but we kind of saw this coming. And so what's happening here, the battle continues at this level 100K. So we pushed up yesterday into this sell block, and these are part of our Crypto Mastery signals, of course. If you don't already have those, you can go over to cryptomastery.org. And actually, the better way to do it is just go to moonstream.io, and right here. So we have these suite of indicators. We've just been so busy, guys. The price is going up, I promise. Just we've got a number of things on our plate, so you can still squeeze in at that lower price on the lifetime. So go check that out. I'll drop the link in the chat. If you don't already have these, you need to have these. We're working at a disadvantage without them. And by the way, guys, this is a free class, so it is somewhat promotional for our products and services. So forgive me in advance. In our kind of paid programs, we don't promote other things. So just so you know. And let's see. So basically what we're seeing, though, and what I'm watching for is if this starts to go red on this TSI, then, we could have some more extended downside and maybe come down and retest this green zone. What somebody had proposed on TradingView, which I think is a big stretch. I don't see a Head and Shoulders here, but there's some argument for that. You always want to pay attention to the Head and Shoulders pattern. It's also how I called the market top back in 2021, along with our indicators. But if we start seeing something like this, then we still have that potential for 84K downside, just gonna eyeball it here. So whether we call it neckline, it's kind of hard to pick a neckline though, right? So this would be the right shoulder if we came down and retested 92K, pardon me. And I'm just doing this live together. I haven't done this analysis yet, so I'm open to all options. But I'm still bullish on this. Just we're sandwiched between, we're kind of range bound between the two buy blocks, right? And again, one of our signals here are these order block detectors, which has been a huge boon to us in helping us find out where these buy and sell areas are. We saw this a great example with Caspa. You can see these are highly respected and also on the red side. So with Bitcoin, and now that we have these three signals here, it is bearish. If we close today with bearish engulfing and the bearish ERI, the early reversal indicator. So hence the name that's an accidental discovery that we found that shows momentum and I believe institutional buying and selling, and generally will go to the other oscillation and other extreme. So, it can stay the trigger or the confirmation. And by the way, we do have the final, not the final version, because there's a couple formatting fixes, but we'll call it the final version of the trade success checklist finally ready. And you can get that for free over at, I know we have an opt-in on that, but I don't know if we've updated that. So just to get the free version or let me just not try to talk and type at the same time. It's this moonstream.io free checklist. Make sure you have this, and even if you don't have our signals, this is really going to help you. Even though it's taken forever for the internet to load, maybe I need to turn off my VPN because these things tend to slow things down. Forgive me for 1 second. I'm going to try to close other stuff down and just turn off that pesky VPN because I've got gigabit speed, but it doesn't like to give me gigabit speed. And like may have lost you guys for a second. I'm just going to stay here for 1 second. And I want this to turn off, though. I need to push the wrong button. So let me go to the chats, you guys. If I lose you, let me know. I don't think that I did. Just, this is going to make things run a little faster, I think. Okay. So, let's try that again. Moonstream.io/free checklist. Look at this, guys. More issues here. Is it going to work? There we go. It worked. Perfect. All right. Third time's a charm. So basically, you can download this, by the way, and this is something we've used to gamify the ability for you to maximize your chances in the trading, especially with our indicators. If you don't have those, then you can follow along on there are standard patterns in there, but really you're going to want to have our signals, not to sound self-serving, but you need these, or you're competing with people like us who have superior signals, because the RSI and MACD and all that stuff, it's what everyone uses. So what we've done here, so when you start seeing these signals, let's look at a bearish example. We're usually looking at the bullish examples. And so let's go over down at the bottom. We have short bearish trades. Okay, so what we want to look for here is, do we have an ERI or early reversal indicator like this red arrow there? And if we do, it's going to give us a trade success score of -1. -1 being it's likely to go down. So bear with me here. We'll go back to the charts. Where do the charts go? We got bazillion windows open. And what's going on here? It's going to be right here. There it is. Okay, so with that bearish early reversal indicator and the bearish engulfing candle, then we starting to see the signs adding up for a downward move. So let's see and make sure we have that in here. We have most of them in the bullish scenario. We didn't add all of them in the bearish because it made the document too long. But it's the opposite of a bullish engulfing candle. And so, we're always evolving this. So bullish engulfing is where the green candle overtakes the red candle. That would be bullish for obviously, hence the name. But similarly, if we start seeing these lining up, then it's more bearish than bullish. So the second one would be the trend strength indicator. When these two or three line up, okay, whether it's bullish or bearish, these three, the early reversal indicator and the bearish or bullish engulfing candles, we have those lining up on the bearish side. If we start seeing the TSI go red, then we're just likely to have more downside. Now, these can come down and chop around for a little bit. There are more, I'm always teaching nuances on this, and so these are more likely to continue all the way down if they go up higher. Now, I'm surprised to see the bearish ERI here. I'm sorry, different indicator. Okay, because with the early reversal indicator, it has to go up a certain level on the oscillator above 95 and ideally above 97. This is a different indicator here. And then back down below 80. The trend strength indicator is just purely green or red, but we want to know, is it above here going below 80 and turning red? That's a bearish signal, or below here, anywhere in the green, turning green and above 20. For the first time hearing that, it's a little bit much, but it's super simple. And these are the best indicators I've ever used, and we've helped create them to be that. I'm actually meeting with Joe today after this class. Those of you know Joe, the programmer of these signals, and he's working on something really cool that is going to be next level. And I can't let the cat out of the bag because I don't know the details yet, but it's going to make it even easier to sort of understand all these things and let the technology do a lot of that analysis for us. So, and here's the bottom line. First of all, don't panic. We're down 4,700 on Bitcoin. It's holding the 21-day exponential moving average. More than likely, end of the day, it's sort of it recovers part of that. Initially in the morning, we see an overactive response, either bullish or bearish. So I'm going to want to watch carefully here. We are in a sell block right at 100K. A lot of sellers still there. When we see that disappear, it's up. We're going up only. But there's a lot of sellers at that 100K level. Not sure who they are. Maybe that's ETFs, although the ETF flows have been positive again. And we are going to unpack some news. I wanted to give you the TLDR here, and then we'll come back to it. But from the current state, what I'm watching here is this possible head and shoulders pattern forming, and the TSI rolling over below. If that starts turning red, then we could easily come down to this 95K level again, which is the 50-day exponential moving average. Why don't we take a look at the weekly and see if we have any signals here? Now, we have in this view, the head and shoulders looks a little bit more possible, and we don't want to see this candle here. This is a spinning top, and it's an inverted hammer or whatever you want to call it. Basically, it means sellers are in control. And the opposite version is green hammer at the bottom. That's a very bullish sign. But what we also see here is we have this TSI on the weekly time frame heading down, starting to stabilize. But we really want to see this come back up end of the week. So make a mental note, if we close here or lower by the end of the week, we're probably going to come down and at least retest 92K and maybe back down to that 84K that I was proposing a couple weeks ago. Just the chart. And, that's okay because we got very much extended away from the 21-week exponential moving average. These things they are mean reverting, so it's important to remember that. Don't be upset about it. You don't own these gains. We got extended here because of the sort of pre-election and all that about the incoming president, the Trump pump, et cetera, et cetera. And I'll also point out that at some point, we could easily retest 74K. Maybe that's bear market and I will touch a little bit upon this, but there's some new evidence confirming evidence of my thesis that we do have a more serious pullback in March. And with recessionary fears and other economic news, Spidey sense. But Arthur Hayes just came out with something. He's a very irreverent thinker, genius, Wharton grad, founder of BitMEX, billionaire. And so he is also proposing now a March, maybe late February, March pullback. Now, the reason I say we could come down to these regions, there's these vector candles a bit all over the place, but these generally retest the midpoint. So that's where I was proposing 84K, where we also have a buy block on the weekly time frame. When in doubt, zoom out. But that's why these tools are so important. And also, you'll see I have a Fibonacci on this, and we're using Bitcoin as our North Star. And we can look at some alts later. I'm not going to go farther down. Let me just change this Fibonacci settings a little bit. And it doesn't want to let me do that today. All right. Well, we're going to look at the 50% level and the 0.618. So it's interesting that the 0.618 retracement from, the lows of September to the highs up here where we hit 108 and change, right? So we have Fibonacci low to high. The 50% will often retest, and sometimes the 0.618. We still have bull market structure, and that just lets the market reset for a bigger push higher. All right, so we're just going around the bases, kind of seeing what we have in front of us. If we were to see a 50%, we have a couple levels of interest. 84K is the midpoint of this vector candle. That's a term I picked up along the way. These are large candles where the market makers moving into a new range, and I've often seen the midpoint of these retest. Okay, we even saw it right in here, basically. The larger candles, though, I don't have too many things on this chart here. It's not always exact, but the midpoint here would put us at 84K. Let's see, I'm not sure I have a line at 82K here. I'll just move it up to that midpoint just for visualization, so 83K. And but down in this range, we could certainly still test the midpoint of this vector candle, which would be the 618. However, again, back to our signals, these order blocks, the light green blocks, are our money flow detectors. So they're two different things. Money flow is where actual buy orders came in heavy and made a lot of buys, generally institution and ETF buys. And what I've seen, and I can only prove empirically, I don't have proof, but the midpoints of these generally hold, but the bottoms, I haven't seen any of these break. So for obvious or maybe not obvious reasons, but I'll tell you, when big investments come in, they like to protect those levels. They will come in and buy more at those levels. So we have a high confidence that, well, for a number of reasons, that 74K will hold. I don't think we'll go down there, so don't get scared. But also, every election that we've had on an election day, price has never gone below the price at the election. Okay, in the history of Bitcoin. Now, I'll revisit this tomorrow if you remind me, guys, in M3. David and I did a very interesting study back in the last cycle that we might be, it'll be interesting to see, but it'll help predict the next bear market bottom if it plays out. There's an interesting relationship to pi that we discovered. And when we were doing some analysis on a retracement level, I'm getting way ahead of myself here, but 3.14 was an interesting discovery that we made on that. So remind me, we'll look at that in M3 class tomorrow. It's beyond the scope for today. So back to the indicators here, and these are all part of the Crypto Mastery signals, which you can see all in this page here in this example, which I'll just drop in the chat. Hopefully that lets me do it. This does not show the money flow blocks, though. And at the very least, I would recommend you go over to the link, watch this video where I go through and describe all of the signals, because the ERI Pro, one of the things we've added to it, this is frozen here, and this just kind of goes through what these all are. But this ERI Pro, Early Reversal Pro, has the money flow boxes. Okay, so this, in contrast to, let's see, economic data leads to 300 million crypto liquidations. Yeah, we've got economic news this week, guys, so people are de-risking. So this box is money flow, actual buyers. This green box here that I'll toggle on and off is where the buy limit orders are. That's where buyers are saying, I'm willing to buy Bitcoin at 84K, at 83K, all the way down to 80K. Okay. So the most likely scenario, if we were to drop, this would be where we would hold and continue higher at the 21-week EMA, is my forecast. TLDR, long-winded version of that. Okay. Just looking at the monthly chart. Monthly chart still looks very bullish, though. Look at all the money flow that came in back in October, November. So I think that we're in good shape there, at least until the February, March timeframe. All right, let's look at some news, you guys, and let's not worry about this too much. This is a bit of an overthrow. Probably, though, here's the thing to watch out for. If we bounce the rest of the week and we kind of zigzag more around this 100K level, and if we start putting in lower highs here at all, then that would be another warning sign of a head and shoulders that we'd at least drop to here. But if we lose that, let me do this. This trend line is no longer relevant, and this trend line no longer relevant. So when we draw the head and shoulders, the measured move here, the neckline would be here. Let's just say that's the neckline. And a breach below that puts us at maybe 78K, but I don't know, you guys. I think we hold. Well, I think we hold here. I'll leave it on there just because it's always good to have a backup plan. And we can see we have, a big amount of sell orders that came in back in end of the year. But that was like a window dressing, people, institutions, organizations taking their tax losses for tax loss savings, window dressing, and then we're kind of seeing the money coming back in, whatever you want to call it. A little bit concerning. We have multiple early reversal indicators up top on the daily, but as you know, our bear market get out is on the weekly time frame, and we didn't quite get it there. Let's just revisit that, you guys. Let me show you how close we were though for calling the bear market red alert. All right. And those of you that are new, we'll just revisit this briefly. This was the market cycle top back in 2021. We had our early reversal indicator here. We had a bearish engulfing candle there. That's two. We need three of the five that I'll share with you. We had all five that time. And we had our TSI, a trend strength indicator. Now, just so you know, these have multiple things built into each one. It's our partners in a quant, former hedge fund trader, and builds automated systems on the S&P, genius, whatever, programmer and trader, all in one. Yeah, you don't find that very often. We saw the trend strength indicator below 80, boom, okay, and that was all in here. And then we had our signal lying red, sorry, here below 80, signal red, and the RSI. Excuse me, guys, I'm getting over cold. RSI showing bearish divergence. So if we get all five of those aligned, we're out, even four of them. And we had a brief signal of that right in here. And I said, guys, we should be going higher. We had our signals kind of aligned. It was a little bit janky, but sure enough, we had a 20% drawback. So if we see, and we had that here, bearish ERI, but we have not seen, excuse me one sec. Sorry about that. Hold a second. Okay, got it out. We did not go below 80 here. And so if we do, now this might all sound like Chinese to you at this point. I promise you, I have looked at charts, thousands of hours of these charts, and when these start to align and these specific criteria align, they are right. The bullish, I look at daily, monthly more, also weekly, but they're really good on daily, monthly. On the bearish side, it's that weekly. We will be trying to forecast in the M3 classes and Retire Rich. I am going to be sending out my red alert and my sell signals when I think we should be getting out of the market, both into strength and then if we confirm on what I'm sharing with you. We did not, and I repeat, we did not see the TSI below 80. I am going to put an alert on that. One of the beautiful things about these signals is you can set alerts on these. So I'll do crossing down and below 80, and I want to say, so bearish or sell, question mark, question mark. So our indicators you can set alerts on. Again, the TLDR on this is that if without these, you are at a distinct disadvantage. By the way, how many of you guys are here with the indicators and you're not sure how to use them? Please ask questions. Here, this is primarily a training for you guys to see how they work. I'll take some coins and do analysis that you guys throw out there toward the end. I'm just trying to circle the bases here. And there are 10 indicators in there. You have the rocket. Great signal for when price is about to shoot up in the sky, like a bottle rocket. It looks just like it. The crypto screener we haven't looked at in a few weeks. I'll pull it up. It's going to be all red, but it's kind of an at-a-glance radar. Our ERI Pro, that early reversal indicator, the Trend Pro, the TSI Pro, the M3 order, the RSI Pro, and Bollinger Band signal line. They all have different functions. So, and there's also a dynamic average true range. Right now, though, we're looking at possible, I know this is, it is looking like a bearish formation. So we want to see what plays out over the next few days. When in doubt, zoom out. And so, these markets are tricky. They are tricky to kind of nail on a daily basis. So we're really kind of looking for those macro, a little bit more of a macro trends. Let's see. I need to turn off the rocket. Where's the rocket there? I'll turn it off for now. And looking at the dynamic ATR. So our ATR, by the way, okay. So the average true range, stay with me because this is a good one we don't always talk about. We normally watch on a 1 hour, 4 hour basis. And it also can be used as a dynamic stop loss, this ATR entry exit. So do you see there? It says either entry or exit on the charts, and it has green and red zones. Some of the best bullish moves on the 4 hour. Let me get to Bitcoin. Before I do though, look at that on AIOZ. Went right up into these sell blocks once, twice, and sold off. So, by coming here every Tuesday, I'm glad to see more people here because I wasn't going to continue doing these classes if we didn't have more people showing up. And these are for you guys. So basically, Bitcoin here, just to finish that thought, and sometimes it's in the chop, but we often can, with these switch from exit to entries, catch these beautiful moves, like Bitcoin on the ATR helped us catch about a 42% move on Bitcoin. So on this is a bit of it in the chop. The order block detector is great for swing traders on the 4 hour and day traders. Look at this, beautiful. If you had just bought here in the buy zone and sold up here in the red zone, beautiful trade. Okay, now it's coming down. Bitcoin's probably going to come down or about 96.5, and then it's going to push up again, maybe up to 102. So I keep a look at that. How many of you are day traders? Any swing traders? Thank you, Sam. Thank you. Appreciate the class. 1% wiser each time. Hey, 1% adds up. It reminds me of an analogy. My old mentor, Bob Proctor, he's like before Tony Robbins, he was the guy. And he said, if you get an airplane going from like Florida to London and you change the trajectory by 1% and you keep flying, you wind up in Australia. And yeah, 1% is all it takes, compounded. So again, on the 4 hour, if anyone day trading, swing trading, you can use the ATR. Yeah, these just using the ATR and the buy sell block zones. And I bet you if you had a Bollinger Band on there, yeah, look at that. So that's a day trading, swing trading on the 4 hour. While we're in this chop between 80 and 100K, why not do a little swing trading? Our sell signals, if you're people always ask me, when do you sell? Well, we created our own version of the Bollinger Bands. You've likely heard of Bollinger Bands. If you go download them, the standard ones from your trading viewer or wherever, that's all fine, but they're wrong on crypto. The setting is off, the volatility is higher in crypto. So I discovered by changing the standard deviation from 2 to 3, it works beautifully. So look at this. When when we push up here and we've color coded it so that if the candle closes above the upper Bollinger Band, had we been watching this clear signal yesterday to sell Bitcoin. How about that? I was not watching this because I had a busy day. We even have it turn blue. So let me turn the Bollinger Band off for a minute. I'm going to go full screen on this 4 hour. I think this is really worth spending a little time on. Turn off the Bollinger Band for now. That's an additional signal. Confluence is what it's all about, you guys. And so here we had the ATR going up in this range, turning blue, which is kind of signaling maybe there's a change of direction coming. And so that was one sell signal. Then we kind of started to go exit. We were in a sell block right at that midpoint, right at 102,000. Another sign to get out. And then the third one is look at the Bollinger Band. As I'm muting that so you don't hear me coughing here. So when we get above that upper Bollinger Band, that is overbought. It's like a rubber band that's been pulled too strong. So right there, you could have gotten out a nice little trade on Bitcoin, especially if you're a leverage trader, pulled out a nice 10%, 11% gain. That's big money on leverage if you are using that. We don't really recommend that, and most of us aren't using that. But what we at some point we're going to get into doing some of that, and I might revive the sniper trader class, but we did that in 2021, 2022. Risky business on the short time frame. Scalping is dangerous, but the swing trading on a 4 hour chart, I think that would be worth doing. What do you guys think? Sound fun? It's a whole nother can of worms though, trying to find a platform that allows leverage trading for U.S. residents, but there are ways. Point is, right up here, sell at the upper Bollinger Band, sell block, 3 signals, going to exit. That happened earlier today. But the fact that we are coming onto a green buy block is, I think, will hold there. So that's when you go to the higher time frames. On the ATR, though, however, but it's a big one, a big but, and the ATR is now gone bearish but that's okay. We're in bullish structure. Well, that just means we might chop around for a bit. And now so there's always a number of layers to this. In our market cycle secrets course, Juan Villaverde, our expert there, has been talking about the cycle highs and lows. Let me go to another chart here briefly and see if we can't pull it up. Where did that thing go? So December 5th and December 19th are likely highs and lows. Here we go. And how can those be in confluence? I was wondering how that would happen if we have a low and then another low, right? So the cycle low came in a couple days early, which sometimes happens. It's 2, 3 days generally, and we could even push up a little more. But if we do drift down from here, I think that, and Arthur Hayes even suggested this in his recent article, that markets kind of bleed down into that ahead of the inauguration on the 20th. So that falls in line with another deeper cycle low, Jan 19th, where the bigger push could happen. So if we were to sort of modify this, once you finish the zigzag on it, you can't keep extending it. I might have to grab a new one. But let's say that from here we drift down into here and then go up to this 120K or higher. I do think it's higher, 130, 150. Oops. And then what? So I don't know. Put a question mark there. It's all dubious speculation, right? As Ben Cowan calls it. At this point, new information equals new decision. We'll see what happens. So we'll leave that on there. I already had a question mark. Could have kept that one. Okay. So anyway, let's see what happens, but it does fall in line with kind of a lot of the studies we've done, and I won't get into today. We'll talk about this tomorrow in M3 class, my Pi cycle top study that's interesting, and also the USDT dominance study, which is still sort of playing out. It's still riding that trend line. So I think at some point that will kind of will come to fruition and into a bear market there. Sorry, guys, I have a bit of a cough. All right, what else? So, any questions? Let's see. Pirate J using 10x leverage on MEXC. There you go. Bitcoin scalping. You're in Canada. Thanks for clarifying. You can get an MEXC KYC with a Palau ID. That's a lot if you're in the US. And I was looking to see if you could use your Palau ID on other exchanges like Deribit, and unfortunately you can't. What I like about Deribit, at some point we're going to release training and classes on options on crypto because bear markets happen and you can make money in bear markets with options, and it's not everyone has access to leverage trading or futures. Okay, not to get off topic here, but all right, let's see. Sam saying planning to become a day swing trader and quit 95. Yeah, Sam, I will say that don't quit your day job right away. Day trading very dangerous, and I'll just sidebar for a minute. My public service announcement for the day. I'm very good. I have good indicators, and in Feb 22, I was day trading Bitcoin, and I can tell you for one thing, the market maker algos for sure are moving money around, and they're gunning for all of us day traders. You've got to be really good. And it changes. The market makers are different. The personalities are the coding is different. The U.S. market makers will do one thing when these patterns set up, totally different when Asia comes on around 5 p.m. So one day I tripled my account shorting Bitcoin, and then was happy about that, but I gave it all back over the weekend, and also got upside down in I'd say a highly manipulated short squeeze. I was in a 20x near $1 million short in Bitcoin. And you've got to really watch that stuff. It got away from me a bit, and took a decent loss on it. So, specifically, because I teach here and this is my business, it's not day trading isn't something you can multitask, and I'd be very careful with that. Swing trading, however, on a 1 hour, 4 hour, you just get really good at your time frame. But the problem is most people can't. It's very hard to be a swing trader and a day trader. Watching daily, weekly charts, and then also looking at 1, 3 minute charts because day traders turn into long-term investors all the time. Some of you will get that. All right. Let's see. Day trade range bound. Yeah. Okay, David. Yeah. If you're gonna use margin, just really 3, 4%, no more than seven. Really, it's easy to get sort of greedy and not, in maybe greedy isn't the right word, but trades going your way. You're like, oh, I'm gonna add more, then keep adding more, and then it turns on you. It's tricky. 10x Bitcoin scalping. Pirate J, you gotcha. Pirate J, my stop loss is like a girlfriend. I can't hardly wait for the rest of this one. I haven't even read it yet. You can't live with, you can't live without. Okay, there you go. Yeah, yeah. The stop losses, but you need them. You're right. You'd have to have those. Okay, back to the regular scheduled programming. So let's kind of see. I think I covered that point. Let's see. We'd go into much more detail on all of these in the M3 Active Trader class. So if you want to learn more about that, go to our website and go down here to Active Trader, and it's at moonstream.io/M3. The internet is taking forever to load today, so I'll just let that load. And you can learn about all of our services here at moonstream.io. Now's the time, you guys. You really need our expert guidance. We are being told we're top 3%. If you are an active trader and do want to swing trade, day trade, then you need to have our signals that I told you about at cryptomastery.org. And really, ideally, the M3 Active Trader class, because that's where every day we're posting. We had a really good dialogue here in the last 24 hours, by the way. Some really smart traders in here. I'm just going to show this to you because I got to move some windows around, even though I've got 6 of them all around my so M3 Active Trader. You can see posting charts, interesting articles, and not too much. It's not like a Discord where you've got 1,000 articles and it's hard to follow through. Although we did have a couple of fairly long posts here, and today about a new sector called decentralized science, and we kind of picked that apart. That's kind of it's something I knew I'm hearing about, but it just doesn't feel like that narrative is going to be there. So anyway, we're talking about the Fed, we're talking about charts. I'm giving trade picks when I see them, and a lot of interesting commentary and conversation every day here inside of the M3 Active Trader. Here's an alert I put out the other day on Fetch when we had a rocket signal. I'm going to show you the rocket because it's a great one to catch fast profits, but you have to sell out. They don't last too long, especially when they get up to that upper modified Bollinger Band. So, but really good, smart traders in here, great conversations. Like I said, where's the one we were just chatting with today, and also talking about here decentralized science, which is a new sector, and you wouldn't need to go research it because we just kind of downloaded a whole lot of stuff on that, and yeah. Anyway, so that is that M3 Active Trader class, and finally that website loaded. Looks like this. I will drop it in the chat. Hey guys, invest in your education. I've got 25 years trading, 10,000 hours in crypto easily since 2021. I've done the math, and I'm uniquely qualified to help you. And this community is the best. M3 Active Trader. And here's me. I was interviewed for a documentary along with Peter Schiff and Robert Kiyosaki and Max Wright. It was called, let's see, I forget who those guys were now. It was I can't remember the name of that. They flew me out to Utah to do that. Anyway, in the M3 Active Trader, I'm in the chat every day. You get access to me every day in the chat with updates, with 24/7 active chat in there. And it's pretty small community so that we don't have a million people in there, and there's no marketing and things like that. So just people throwing out, giving, if you're busy, you could just go read that every day and not have to go and read all the news. There's a membership area. A lot of great feedback, as you can see in that M3 class. So the M3 class is like this, but we go deeper into things like total market cap and some other studies, liquidity markets, and actually trade recommendations. There is a members area with some training, and I need to update some things in there, but there's some really good training in there. Amazing interactive PDFs, like our dollar cost averaging worksheet, our portfolio tracker. There's some high probability cheat sheets and trading patterns like that Head and Shoulders. So if you want to learn how to these high probability trading patterns, you can go learn that in there. All right, and lots of testimonials that I haven't updated for 3 years because there's just so many of them. You can read all down to all the bottom, all the things you get. You also get a 1 hour private trading session with me if you'd like, and you sign up for that. Somebody just finally, who joined months and months ago, finally said, "Yeah, I'm ready for my session." So, and we'll honor that for sure. And we even send out a cool little hat. All right, great little community, guys. I'd love to see you in there. Alex is one of my star students here. Alex, are you here today? And I don't think Alex is here today. And David here, he's kind of moved on. I think he's learned so much he doesn't need me anymore. And that's my goal, to get you guys to a point where you don't need me anymore. All right, let's dive into some news. How we doing on time? It is coming up on the top of the hour. And David says USDT alarm just went off. All right, let's take a looky there. I have it loaded. Well, I mean, it's riding the trend line like I drew, but I still think we zigzag around it and then we dump in that March April timeframe like we were talking about in M3. So we'll unpack that tomorrow for sure. All right, so on the news. And then maybe we'll come back and do the trade success checklist if you guys want to look at any coins. Let's see, Sam Thomas, for a newbie, I guess, what would you recommend as a good learning path to take? Yeah, Sam, when you say new, are you actively trading? Let me just go back to our website because we have a path for everybody, and we're going to try to make that simpler. The newsletter here, which isn't currently open, I think it might be. It's a monthly newsletter that my business partner writes, usually with a coin pick every month. I don't know, taking forever to load the web pages. So that's a once a month kind of a thing. And if you're more of a buy and hold kind of guy, that you might be interested in that, or our Retire Rich program. Again, longer holds. Generally, the Retire Rich is larger accounts where you want to just buy and and hold because we got into AI in October of 2023. We bought a bunch of AI tokens like INJ that went up 588%, but that was a buy and hold. The M3 active trader is what I was talking about on this, where we are kind of more actively taking 5 day, multi-day to multi-week swing trades. So that's probably, I would highly recommend the active trader and our signals. Short version is to do that. And because any one of the trades we've recommended could have paid for the service easily. Like Sui recommended at $2 when it's over $5 now. So let's see. Yeah, KS, that is Trudeau stepping down is sort of old news now, but never gets old, if you know what I mean. Good riddance to that guy. All of Canada was rejoicing. Anyway, not to get into politics, but it must be hard running a country. But yes, Trudeau is stepping down. And yes, hopefully the new PM will be pro people, pro crypto. Did you guys hear sort of ridiculous? I mean, they're floating the notion of making Canada part of the USA. Um, it could go so many directions with that, but anyway, I don't think that's going to happen. But yes, Trudeau stepping down. Sam, hopefully I answered your question. And if you'd like to book a call and get on one-on-one with me, you can go here and do that and just book a call. There's a video there, and that might be useful to watch. And we can get on with me, and then we can figure out what the best path for you would be, because we're here to help everybody as much as we can. So, where was I going? Oh, let's do some news. Bitcoin ETFs scooped up almost 3x more Bitcoin than produced in December. Yeah, the ETFs are buying again. And if we go over to Far Side Investors, reminds me of you guys remember the Far Side comic? Whatever happened to that guy? That was really good. Um, wow, I've never had websites take this long to load. Let me make sure my VPN is off. And maybe so basically though, look at this though. Look at the inflows. This one doesn't make sense to me. We had massive inflows on the ETFs both on Friday and Monday. Okay, like some of the biggest inflows that I've ever seen. 908 billion. These are in thousands. So 900 and or these are in millions, I think. 908 million? It's not billion. What am I talking about? 908 million, but 978 million, almost $1 billion yesterday. Today, obviously, seeing some selling going on, but overall, the net is positive. So, it's just this. You have to remember, and those of you that don't realize, these markets are also when I say manipulated, they operate in lockstep with the derivatives market, so futures and options. And if a huge player comes in and buys a whole bunch of futures trades and long futures or long options, then to hedge those things, the Wall Street players will go out in the spot market or the OTC market. I imagine it's spot market. Yeah, it'd have to be spot, and they'll de-risk by buying or selling a lot in the spot, just because they know if things go in the direction of all those contracts at high leverage, options and futures or leverage products, the people issuing those derivatives, they have to be ready to offset that in the underlying. So that's why you see a lot of movements here. Sometimes you just don't know, and who has time to kind of monitor all that. But basically, you guys heard me say this. Show me the charts, I'll tell you the news. Even with that ERI off, though, this bearish engulfing candle, it's a bit ominous. This is probably the highest probability candle pattern there is, in my opinion. So, I'd really like to see how we close today, and we'd like to and you have to be kind of like Wayne Gretzky is. How just another Canada reference. Is he Canadian? No, he's American, isn't he? Or is he Canadian skating in America? I have so many questions. Point is, being where would Wayne Gretzky be in this case? We haven't used that analogy before. I'd like to see us close back up above 98.5, 98.6, which is the open of yesterday, so that it's not a bearish engulfing candle. And ideally, we close a bit above it, because then we can push higher from here. And we'd rather see, this. But it's tricky because we don't want to have a double top. This is this is why this is a precarious moment, you guys. It's easier for me to call in the inflection points at the bottom and at the top. We're very good at that. Yeah, but this 100K level, I said it was going to be a battle, because currently, if we don't put in a higher high, then we're possibly, can you guys see it? Once you see it, you can't unsee it. We are possibly putting in or creating another bull flag, which, that's great, but that means we could come back down into the 90s, and zigzag around you know, all the way into March 19th and then take off. So that's kind of what I'm watching for, you guys. And we'll talk about this more in M3 tomorrow on how to play that. But these are the kind of the tricky points. It's always obvious in hindsight, isn't it? That damn hindsight. But at any rate, let's keep going. Back to the news here. So, Czech National Bank. We've got bullish news though. Czech National Bank governor weighs Bitcoin for future reserve strategy. Not sure how big their GDP is and economy, but the more the better. We've been talking about the 10 paths to 150K, now 11 paths, one of which is more strategic reserve adoption, and that's starting to happen. We'll cover that. We always review that in tomorrow's class as well. All right, so basically, yeah. So the Jolts data, that's I was kind of looking for the catalyst and didn't have time to go all around the table on the news this morning. So, we'll just pull this up here, and huh, Bitcoin analysis blames spoofing. So spoofing is something where, at least in the old day trading days, where if you're on the level two terminal and you want to kind of trick people into thinking the price is going to go higher, but really you're short, you'll throw in some big bids the top bid, you'll throw in, start flashing some big buy orders, but then you'll pull it away. And that typically is done to trick the people watching those to start buying above market, right? Meanwhile, you're selling to them. It's not technically like legal, but there's not regulation against it yet, at least for these offshore. So this explains some of this. Um, and this is how markets are manipulated. So that's interesting. I was wondering, and so we have Jolt's data, but we also have some shenanigans, which is a technical term in trading, about what this spoofing. So let's unpack this for a little bit. Or shed 4% predictable Bitcoin price action, put whales in the spotlight. Yeah, and these whales, they play a different game, you guys, and we just don't know to the extent they are tied in with with exchanges, with market makers. We may never know, but if you ever watch the show Billions and Bobby Axelrod, you've heard me say the analogy before. When one of his traders comes to him with a sure thing and inside information, he doesn't say, "Do you have inside information?" He goes, "Are you certain?" And then if the guy says or girl says, "I am not uncertain," that's code for, "Yeah, I've got inside information," or we're manipulating the market. So we just have to go with what we can see, and sometimes we have to sit there and scratch our head and say, "I don't know." But then, um, let's see. So here, Bitcoin spoofing sees price support disintegrate. Let's see, data from Cointelegraph Markets Pro and TradingView followed Bitcoin amid reactions to jobs openings and labor turnover. That's the jolts. Yeah, there's been speculation, and I agree that the job on the unemployment data, while they were saying, "Hey, it's not so bad," they were over-reporting U.S. government jobs, so essentially underreporting the data. And I had proposed that recently in a comment or a thread because you know I forget where it was, but when that data comes out, and maybe this is starting to come out, it's going to spook the market. Let's see, markets catalyzed lower and the jolts rising. However, without initial jobless claims going up, a rising jolts means one thing: job creation. Somebody said, let's see. Yeah, I mean, so look, we're as long as we hold that 21-day exponential moving average, we're good. And this person's saying, Scotty, excited to let the market fall today, back into longs tomorrow, maybe. But because here's where I let our technology and our signals guide us, because otherwise it's just pure speculation. This to me says that institutions are selling. This is more than retail being scared. And for those of you that don't and haven't seen what the early reversal indicator really looks like, and you want to peek behind the Wizard of Oz, the curtain, maybe I have too much open. My computer is just it's a pretty good computer, although I am in the market for a faster hard drive. I got like 40 megs of RAM in this thing. That's a beast, but probably needs a faster processor here. All right, here we go. What was I doing? The ERI. Okay, the ERI oscillator. So, some of you have seen this, some of you haven't, but I do want to point out. Let me move this up top. If you guys are looking at the ERI, saying that's cool, you have an arrow, but everyone has arrows. Yeah, that's the visualization version of what the actual oscillator is, and the way that because nobody wants to look at this. And the way that it works, the pattern that I recognized was when the oscillator gets up above 97, ideally pegging 100, then below 80 in 3 time periods or less, then it usually follows all the way to the other extreme. See that? So if we look at December 18th, back here, that's when I last showed you guys and said, hey, we shouldn't be having bearish signals here, but we are. We should get out. And those that listened were happy because there was a 20% drop on Bitcoin. We had the ERI, we had bearish engulfing candle, we had bearish TSI, signal, and RSI. Okay, so let's go back to our checklist here. and we're going to continue to add it on the bearish signs, but as we start checking these things off, we have bearish ERI and a bearish engulfing. So this vertical line here is that representation that it went below 80. Now, why is this significant? I'm going a little bit in the weeds here for you guys. I just want you to know, those of you that are a little bit more cerebral and wondering what the hell the arrow means, this was an accidental discovery. It's because of the velocity within a time period that tells me it's programmatic institution or whale selling and buying. And we didn't know that. All I saw was the pattern before. But when we really unpacked it, we're like, okay, that's why. Similarly, all the way back to November 24th, green line went from 0 to above 20 in 3 time periods. Okay, November 5th. Well, we all know what happened November 5th. So that was also a market cycle low on a time basis, but we had our early reversal indicator there, as shown by velocity and speed on that. And so sure enough, we had a massive rally over that. Okay. So now you guys can believe in the cute little arrows. For years and years, actually over a decade when I had Options University, I was like, we need a signal that's simple, but then we can let people peel back the curtain to see that it's actually legit, right? Because everybody has their arrows and things like that. And anyway, point made. So what I'll be watching for, if we go into the end of the week, and maybe it's next week, because it's looking pretty bearish here. If the TSI goes red below 80 into next week, now we have to go on a closing time frame ideally, but then we will have 3 of the 5, and that's pretty bearish. But our signal line's still green, and the RSI is not showing bearish divergence. This is our RSI Pro, which I haven't talked about. But look how good this is. Bearish divergence, look at the red circles. These are also very telling. That called up here. And again, even though we waited till the end of this red candle to confirm, it still did go back down, another 10% or so. And but we that's what we're going to be watching for the market cycle top. And those of you who know, like this was the top. And although I was telling people to get into cash in this range already though. All right. Not trying to blow my own horn. I'm just trying to make sure we're all on the same page. So with that, what's the radar show? Perry says, yeah, good point. Let me turn on our radar, also included in the package. And the radar is a multi-time frame radar. It's showing basically if it's all red, stay out, all green, get in. It's mixed, Perry. So we have on the daily, weekly, bearish. On the monthly, quarterly, we're bullish. So we're sort of fitting the narrative here that we pull back into that, start pulling back down into January 19th, and then we rally out of it. I I was hoping for some follow through here up into this region to take profits, but we have to contend now that we have several data points that we are in a new downward trending channel or bull flag on Bitcoin. And if that's the case, Sui, bullish momentum towards $6. Yeah, I think Sui can go to 6. We called it at 2. So, or I recommended it at 2, under 2. All right. So basically, do we want to do that? Why not? If we are putting in a bull flag, it's a little bit tricky though. Where do we draw it? Because it didn't go until here. It's kind of a janky one. It's not clear enough. I'm not going to do a bull flag. Let's just concede that maybe we're in a downward trending parallel channel. What we'd like to see is a break above, retest, go higher. Although, unless we can kind of get a push up in this range and sell, take profits, and then, get ahead of a deeper dump, buy everything back here for the bigger pump higher. That would be Iron Man points for sure. All right. Anything else? Okay, I don't see anything else. Just unpack the news a little bit. Real quick, let's take a look at the markets. Bitcoin's still down almost 5K. Of course, the alts are going to be down a lot as well. And yeah, it's so hard, so tempting, when you start seeing fresh momentum and you come back in and go on buying sprees all over again, and then the market dumps. It is enough to make you want to just go open a beach stand somewhere in the Caribbean. But it is what these things do, and you know, takes the stairs up and the elevator down. Look at that. All red on the radar, Stacks. You're killing me. All right. Well, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Spot Bitcoin ETFs in the United States amassing. So yeah, it's crazy. Like the Bitcoin ETF still amassed 51,000 Bitcoin. And let's see. What did we miss though? Wait, I was talking about a different article though. Did we finish the spoofing article? Let's go back to this. Yeah, so basically the deliberate co-founder trading with some material indicators. So labeled spoofing is the deliberate shifting of liquidity on the order books, as I was saying, by entities with large amounts of capital. That's a little bit more concise than I was saying. But do you get it? Like they can spoof big money orders coming in, so everyone else is like, "Hey, let's get ahead of that trade," and they start buying, 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 and then that big fake buyer, has no intention of buying. And if the price gets too close to their spoofed order, they'll just pull it off. Technology take it off. And back in the day when we were a degenerate day trader, we figured out that like sometimes Morgan Stanley would be on the bid, and we'd be like, Morgan Stanley's got a bid buy block there. But later we found out Morgan Stanley was actually selling through a third party broker called Knight Capital. So they were pretending to be buyers, but they were really sellers. So that's why day trading is so hard. It's highly manipulated. Anyway, spoofs are annoying, but they do tend to facilitate some predictable price movement for Bitcoin. I'm not clear how that would be. Let's see. Short time frame swings due to liquidity appearing, disappearing, as I said. Technically, this is kind of illegal here in the U.S. Allen updated Bitcoin pair Binance highlight and removed several recent liquidity blocks. This is probably high block fire charts. So this, our order block detector does some version of this, but is a lot easier to read. We basically are showing where the thickest intensity of buyers and sellers are. And, rather than have that really obnoxious chart to look at, the midpoint is where the most intense sell orders are. So look at that. Price went right to that midpoint again on the 4-hour Bitcoin, hit the Bollinger Band in the sell block. Again, had we been watching that old hindsight, that would have been a clear sell signal to get out of the markets. So that's why as traders, we really want to watch and know, that's why, these signals, that's why coming to these classes, you'll pick up a new nuances every time. And I'm just looking to see if we could have gotten out early, but that Bollinger Band is so good. It's our custom Bollinger Band, and we've color coded it red on top, green on the bottom, because if it touches the lower green Bollinger Band, see that? That's a buy signal. And look at how it coincided. I think somebody's on to my 3BB, on my 3 standard deviation Bollinger Band trick, because I'm starting to see more of these buy blocks appear right at that range where they're hitting the lower 3 standard deviation Bollinger Band. If you're not using our signals, you want to mimic this, just go into your settings on your Bollinger Band, change the standard deviations from 2 to 3, and bingo, it works. It works very well all the way up through here, that contained price. When it gets above it, it usually sells. Usually, and you guys know, my friend Steve Nissen taught me this, January, when it hits a lower Bollinger Band and breaches it, it will continue higher to the upper one. So where could we be heading now? We could be heading down to the lower Bollinger Band. Probably we chop around in here for a bit, let this lower Bollinger come up a bit, and then we go higher. I don't know. But for taking profits and selling, and guys, this is the cheat code. You need this. Go over to cryptomastery.org/pro. Get these signals. Get them before the lifetime offers go up. That's something that's the team needs to do, but we're just too busy right now. Maybe I'll do it later. I'll do it later today in the week. Let's see. If I buy in, it's guaranteed to pull back IDCA the past few days. Not sure what your yeah, Scott. I mean, but if you're really using the signals, then so basically Scott's saying if he buys, it's guaranteed to pull back. Well, that's because as humans, we are taught to avoid risk. Let's unpack that for a minute because everyone's felt that way at one point in the past. And so, what you're really saying, Scott, I'm going to reframe that a little bit, is that after 7 days of Bitcoin going up, then your FOMO got the best of you, and you're like, oh, I'm missing out. I mean, it's going higher. I'm feeling safe. And then you got in too late. And not picking on you. This is tough love here, buddy. Because and I mean that in the best possible way, because we've all been there. And then boom. Well, what we want to be paying attention to is how many up days in a row have we had? It's not common for Bitcoin to have 6, 7, 8 days in a row. It can, but especially on the weekly time frame. So where I was going with that though, and you didn't hear this analogy, Scott, but I was in Key West a month or so ago, and I've used it as squirrel theory, but I'm going to use pigeons this time. I think this works better. And I'd walked down to that pier, that southernmost place in the United States, and I had this delicious croissant breakfast sandwich. And I walked down. I sat on a park bench, and watching the ocean. And I was eating, and there was this kind of one pigeon kind of standing there looking at me like, "Hey, you got any food?" And he was kind of checking me out. And then there was no other pigeons around. And he came walking over, and just then a piece of bacon fell, and he ran over and he got the bacon. And early bird catches the worm. And I kid you not, within like 30 seconds, there was 100 pigeons all around me, like pecking at me. And one of them that was missing a wing, like jumped up on my knee. The point of it is, fortune favors the brave. You got to get in early, because if you go when it's safe. See, all the other pigeons were like, "Hey, what's going on over there? Let me see if that pigeon gets any food, or if he gets trapped and eaten." Right? We're wired the same way. We evolved like knowing four things: do I eat this? Do I run away? Do I ignore it? Or do I mate with it? And two of those apply. You don't want to be ignored or run away in terms of if we're in business. But we pay attention to novelty, newness, and safety. So the point of that is, it is more dangerous for us to wait to see 6, 7 candles in a row, okay, and then to get in. But we feel safe, even though it's more dangerous. Does that make sense? So start looking at that. Sometimes I have to catch myself and say, "Man, this feels good. Look, we're going higher. We're breaking up above, and all the things." My confirmation bias kicks in, but then I'm like, "Bah, wait a minute. We've been going up for 4 or 5 days in a row." And so really pay attention to that. Often I will go, and you guys know this, I'll come in, especially in M3, I'll say, "Guys, I'm liking this trade, this, all bullish." But then we also always do what? Then we say, "All right, now let's look at the other side. How could we be wrong?" And often we're like, "Oh, yeah, okay, maybe this is when in doubt, stay out, you guys." So this pullback, although it felt really good, nice candle pattern on the 21-day exponential moving average. If I put on the EMA ribbon, it's starting to look good. I know, I get it. But 7 days in a row, and then that was a tough one, though, I'll have to admit, because our trend indicator was always also giving us a bell. So, that's the game we play, but just the analogy, I think, still works. The times when it's most also worth paying attention to, and let me get the Bollinger Band back on. Now, where did my Bollinger Band go? Maybe I don't have it on this chart. Do you see when price gets this far away from the 21-day EMA, and there's all this volume here? That's really where we want to pay attention to. This is due to a pullback. Think of it as a rubber band. If you pull that orange thing as a rubber band, it's going to snap back. So, this particular trade wasn't too bad. It is giving us some clues, however, that markets are a bit overbought. The TSI is rolling over. So we'll have to see how that plays out, and I'll alert you guys, as I always do, in M3. Let me do this, though. Let me turn on that Bollinger Band. When you buy the indicators, by the way, you'll need to fill out a form. Give us your TradingView ID. It has to be turned on manually. And then you'll see these appear in your invite-only scripts, the ones here that have the M for M3, and you'll have all of these added. So we advertise. You won't have these two. These are new. We're our screener and something new that's coming out. But you'll have the Rocket, the Crypto Screener, the ERI Pro, Trend Pro, TSI, M3, Order Block Detector, RSI, Bollinger Band. So what you want to do is choose your favorites on all these, and then refresh your. You might need to refresh your browser. By the way, give it 24 hours so that they appear. Some people don't see them right away. All right, but you need to have these to compete with in these markets because it's super treacherous without it. And anyway, with that in mind, that's Bitcoin. We can take a look at something else. Let's see what now. Reframed to be a pigeon, Dr. T. Yeah. Well, my squirrel theory was similar. You know, when you're in the park and there's a bag of chips over across the way that someone left and littered, and one squirrel comes over and he's sniffing around. He's really hungry, but it's kind of scary to go in the chips. Maybe a monster gonna eat them. So we'll get a little closer, and then the survival instinct kicks in. It runs away. Then he's like, "Wow, but I'm really hungry. Those potato chips, they smell really good. So I'm gonna go over there and then go over again." And then he gets scared and runs away. And then maybe another squirrel comes over, runs in and grabs a chip. And then another squirrel. And then that first squirrel that was scared, he's like, "God, it looks safe to me. Maybe I'll go over." And then by the time he feels safe, he goes over and there's no more chips in the bag. I don't know, guys, where I come up with these, but hopefully that's helpful. Um, and so yeah. So it's also true. The cave you fear to enter lies the treasure that you seek. I knew I was going to blow it. The treasure that you seek lies in the cave you fear to enter. That means you have to be bold sometimes. But part of the reason that these indicators are so good is they give you that confidence to say, "Oh yeah, I'm getting in here," and or I feel comfortable getting in here. And not chasing it when it's too late. Because now that we have the Bollinger Bands ostensibly added here, what did they tell us? I added the wrong thing. How did I do that? I was trying to use my mouth and my brain at the same time. I hate when that happens. Bollinger Bands. All right, the key with the Bollinger Bands too, when you first load them, you have to drag them, click and drag them onto the chart, and then, very important, over on the left side, because if you don't do this and you try to move things around, the Bollinger Bands won't stick to the chart pattern. So you have to right click in here and go to merge all scales into one on the right. Boom. Now, look at this. Moves in tandem. So, yeah, so that upper Bollinger Band tightening can be a clue to further price appreciation and breakout. But right now, things are looking pretty bearish. Look, just this is profit taking. Even if we pull back down to the 50-day EMA or even 92, I mean, I'm just, hey, Scott, to your point, I sold a third of my Bitcoin at 92K right here. It was the right stop loss level to use, except that that's where the market maker algos, they can see those. They're like, oh, there's some free money. Sure, we'll take that. And then it went higher. So those stop losses and like you were saying, I forget who said it, the girlfriend analogy, and that's not really fair. Uh, you know, maybe certainly true, but hey, there's always it takes two, right? It always takes two in those situations. But the point being, stop losses, love them and hate them. And I know one of my other private clients, we've talked a lot about that. Tight stops are, very often they'll get taken out and then price redirects. So anyway, I digress. Let's see. No point really looking at too much here. USDT dominance is bouncing. We looked at that. We'll talk about that tomorrow. Bitcoin dominance dropping. ETH. This is the futures. Sorry. Bitcoin dominance staying stable. Sol and ETH dominance going down. Everything down today. Just a general de-risking overall in the markets. And markets got spooked a bit. Let's just see. Let's unpack some more of the news, and I'll let you guys go. But essentially, let's see. Continuing pop trader skewed long Bitcoin wiped out. Yeah. So the thing is, we also should be. We have so much to track, you guys, don't we? It's something that I should just put on my daily list. But when the open interest and there's too much leverage in the system, we see huge flushes in liquidations, and that helps reset the market. I have several of these bookmarked, so if we go down in here to liquidations here, CoinGlass has one. This one's pretty good, and my super fast internet here, it feels like a dial-up today, shows that how spoiled we have become. And it'd be fun to hear that sound again, isn't it? Right there, right there, right there. The modems, 24-hour rect, 400 million, mostly longs, because all these degen longs were saying, all right, it's time to go higher. And it's a good way to get wrecked. And I don't say that lightly. It's no fun to get wrecked, by the way. I've had it happen a couple times. One was a big one. Other couple others were small ones. Hey, if I'm going to day trade again, I'll put 3-5K in it out of profits and play around with that. And the best way to day trade is if you're up a certain amount, take some out and put it in spot trades. Like take your day trading profits. The fallacy. Let me go back to this because it'll resonate more. The fallacy of being a day trader and growing your account to millions of dollars is this, because as you grow your account, and they call it the winner's curse, because as you grow you have a string of winning trades, you've doubled your account, and then you start investing bigger, and then it takes a couple of those losses and you're down to where you started, then you revenge trade, which never works. Most people don't have the discipline to, as their account grows, keep trading the same size. The best way to do it, and the most successful trader that I know pays himself weekly out of profits. He sweeps it, he takes it out into a real account, real assets, buys things, real estate, otherwise, because if you grow, let's say you spend 5 years growing your account from 10,000 to a million, and then you just have a terrible losing streak and you lose it all. That's what happens. Most people don't recover from that. Let's see. Okay. Totally have to zoom out weekly, monthly. XRP. Sam, I don't really cover XRP. I'll look at it. And we can do that. Let's see. Let me just cover the comments. So Perry says it's not wrong to get in and out of positions other than the fees and the bid-ask differences. Whole bunch of little losses made up by one big win. Yeah, that's true, Perry. It's you know, um, you've got to be able to take a bunch of small losses and let your profits run on the big ones. Uh, most traders make the opposite mistakes. So you haven't known slow internet until you've had true satellite, Scott says. Okay. Starlink is amazing. Good to know. The internet was basically powered by two hamsters. I gotcha. Good to know, Scott. I mean, at some point I might go out. I'm building some. I've got some mountain land in an undisclosed location that you will not find. Trust me. But I can't go there without internet. Starlink might be the answer. Because when the zombies come, unless you know where the rusted shovel is, you won't find me. All right. Pirate J, position size. Yeah. Good. Glad you liked it. Okay, so we'll look at XRP in a minute. Let's see. I want to just touch on. Let's finish the news real quick, and then we'll look at XRP. I showed the liquidations here. Did that finally load? That thing never even loaded for me, did it? Well, son of a gun. Market resources, stock to flow. Maybe tomorrow you guys remind me. Let's go look at stock to flow, and there's some other there's some other signals we haven't looked at in a while, like the rainbow price chart. And where are we on the fear and greed, by the way? Maybe we got too high on the greed sector because that's usually when pullbacks happen. And yeah, I mean, it's not too high. We're not too high on the fear and greed. Okay. But I do want to go look. Well, no, we did look at liquidations. I closed it already. That was about 400 million. All right. Focus, Brett, focus. So here we go. The liquidations here. So basically, there was too much leverage in the system, and Rect Capital saying that we need to close above 101, 165, and we are below that now. So to confirm a successful retest, yeah, I mean he's right. The break above 100,000, we needed a successful retest, which we didn't have, It's a battle. It's the market makers letting those longs and shorts hang themselves. That's what it is. The market makers, those greedy little market makers, which are AIs programmed to take all of our money, are sitting there, metaphorically, waiting for the leverage to get too high in any one direction, and then they're going to go, "Oh, there's money, boom," and then all the that side, everyone else piles on. And, oh, it's time, it's our turn, and then it goes like that, and then the market maker goes, "Oh, boom," and liquidates both sides, and then everybody licks their wounds, and so anyway. Look at this. More FUD about quantum computing. I bet you that's what that is. Don't believe that hype. We're nowhere near what it would take to crack Bitcoin. So related back to 76K. I don't want to look at that, but we'll look at it briefly. Validation. Let's see. Some eyed potential invalidation of a bearish head and shoulders, which I just showed you. Guys, how many times am I showing you stuff and then we read it in the news? So I reached out to Cointelegraph saying, "Hey, why don't you have me write an article?" So haven't heard back yet. Maybe they've replied in my spam. Some my potential invalidation by bearish head and shoulders formation today current 8. So they were saying the head and shoulders invalidation, but now it's still in play. Latest retracement, according to so and so, puts that theory in jeopardy. Bitcoin Daily now working on throwback to broken F left right head and shoulder invalidation zone. Lots of big fancy words. I already showed you what we're watching there. And this guy calls himself the Wolf of all streets. I think that's kind of, I won't use the word, but lame as the PG-13 version. Drew attention to 50 days. Simple moving average. We already talked about the 50-day EMA, which works better, Scott. Testing support low, lose this. Bitcoin test 92K lows. We've covered all that. Okay, good to go. Missed one here. Bitcoin ETF scooped up almost 3 times more Bitcoin than produced in December. We looked at that on the inflows on far side investors. This market's starting to feel like the far side cartoon, though, isn't it? I tell you. We're trying to get through this quickly here. Lots of data. Let's see spot flows for Apollo. Apollo's another good resource that I usually use sometimes. Not enough supply available. Current price, supply, demand. That's interesting. Not surprising, but we keep hearing about supply shock. Where is it? The demand is there, allegedly. So it does beg the question, who's selling? I did hear that Mr. 100X, the Mr. 100 who was buying 100 Bitcoin a day, which may or may not be North Korea, started to sell finally, but now there's somebody else that's buying 200. Anyway, who knows? When Mark, don't need to highlight that. So I mean the TLDR on all this, whatever happens in the next few weeks is sort of immaterial. I think we will probably see some sell-off going into the inauguration and then see Trump pump number two. Although the inauguration could be a sell the news event. So there is that. But I think it won't be. I think we'll see Trump pump number two, and then we'll kind of see where things wind up. All right, ETF approaches 110 billion as analyst calls 200K in Bitcoin 2025. Oh my God, really? Really? 200K? I've been saying that for a year. Um, you guys, everyone knows how many new people do we have here? Mostly M3 traders here in the room in the house. So I won't probably do it for the newbies. I guess I do have a study here. I guess what I'm getting at is I have a study that shows oh, look at that. It is already queued up. Fine, I'll do it. Here is my study. You can find it on TradingView. The potential path to 150K to 200 Bitcoin in 2024, 2025. We started with 7 factors of how we could get there. Now we're at 11. Y'all, we've covered this over and over again. If you want to find it and you're new here, just Google Brett Fogle at TradingView, and there's videos on this. But U.S. and country adoption as reserve currency. We just talked about Czechoslovakia, I think it was, is considering that. So that is huge. Corporate FOMO, we're sort of waiting for that to really kick in. QE money printing. Remember I said that may not happen, but I just was reading Arthur Hayes' article saying that could kick in and be necessary after all. But The rest of this we don't need to get into. Well, here, less available exchange on the supplies. We keep hearing that. Demand surge. Where's the demand surge? Somebody is suppressing price. Question is who? Here's that study here on how we could get to potentially, you guessed it, 200K. Now everyone else is jumping on the bandwagon. Everyone's saying 150K too. I've been saying that for a year, strictly based on the Fibonacci's that forecasted the highs of 2021, the 3.618 took it right to, let me zoom out a little bit so it's not so messy. Took it right to that 69K. Hey, this the high. The second time was the Wyckoff upthrust after distribution, so this didn't count. The real market cycle high was here, if you really want to get technical, but the throw over was there. Anyway, same analysis from the high there to the low here at 16.5, which we correctly forecasted in May before that, puts us at potentially 150K. I think I've buggered this a little bit. Want to get it exacts. Right. So it projected the 1.618 at 100K, getting a pullback. Not unexpected at all. This bar's pattern is the same as here, fudged a little bit, but hitting 100K, slight pullback. We could see more pullback, doesn't matter. We're going to 150K, I believe, at some point, probably. Um, the timing on this shows Jan 2025. And then 200K. But I think we are going to see an acceleration. And if we hit 200K, that'll be after the second wave, I believe. And it could be, I'm trying to fudge it so that it's closer to where we are in the timing of this, but the projection on price is still intact. And so 150K on this example would be December of 2024. We'll see what happens. U.S. Reserve could kind of really accelerate any of this. So we'll see what happens. Price targets are still intact. Anyway, point being, the problem is consensus is dangerous. The more and more of these other people coming out saying 150K and 200K as base case, and the less likely that will play out that way. Most of the major Bitcoin mining companies have released their figure. It could be the miners that are selling here, by the way, because they have to pay for their energy and mining equipment, and maybe they're just sweeping some profits. So anyway, let's see. Clean Spark produced 668 coins, but the article was that we're buying more coins than we're mined. So who's selling the coins? It's not Michael Saylor. It's a big question mark. Where's that selling happening? Don't know. Because by now the whatchamacallit, what's the exchange that imploded? Their coins that they were going to sell, they were supposed to be done with that by October. And the Silk Road, I mean, the US government still has Silk Road Bitcoin. Maybe the Biden boys are trying to sell it off before Trump gets in, because Trump says he's not going to. Mount Gox is what I was suggesting, because remember they were going to sell a bunch of Bitcoin, but I think that's been absorbed. Canadian man says kidnappers wanted to torture him for his Bitcoin. That's why you don't want to go to Canada if you're a Bitcoiner. Just kidding. Unidentified Canadian man is forced to move from one Airbnb to evade suspect kidnappers. Ay, ay, ay. They had equipment to torture me. 2 foot by 2 foot tarpaulin with hole in the middle, green hoses to cut a limb and stop the bleeding. This is horrific. I mean, jeez. Fortunately, I don't have that much Bitcoin, you guys, for the record. You can torture me all you want. Um, I'm sorry, this just caught me totally off guard. He and his children would have seen posts on a Facebook page that I've been monitoring, thought I had 2.5 million in Bitcoin. Wow, that's not even that much. I mean, it's more than I have, but $1,000. Yeah, that's kind of so my business partner, rightfully so, wants to kind of disappear from the public eye. And the Court of Appeals just released the suspects. Guys, I guess if you have a bunch of Bitcoin, keep it quiet. And another one. 4 suspects forced a Bitcoiner to transfer Bitcoin before killing him. Oh, man. Well, yeah. Fortunately, I guess fortunately or unfortunately, I don't have a lot on that, so you guys don't come after me. Um, because I'm mostly in real estate. Back to, but back to 76K. And by the way, whatever I do have is in a trust that I can't even pull out of without my trustee for those exact reasons and other reasons that it's good protection against things like creditors and things, government agencies, things like that. IRS, but IRS. So, long story, you guys. I sold a company 10 years ago. I had some CFO embezzling, had to re-amend a bunch of tax returns. Just been a decade trying to resolve this thing, mostly because they're so slow. At any rate, we'll get it resolved. Back to 76K for 2025. I have to know about Bitcoin this week. Bitcoin price expectations diverge. I'm trying to get through it fast. 100K 2025. Skimming this for you guys. Bitcoin deeper correction fears linger. All right, Bitcoin saw a solid performance following its lately close around 98.3. It's kind of like I'm almost tempted to get out of the markets and just wait for a clear sign that we are going to hold above and go higher. Problem is, it happens so fast, and we just kind of have to wait it out. But let's see, our implications have not gone away. Cup and handle on Bitcoin, yeah, 137K. I've drawn the same analysis. My estimates, again, I think these are wrong. The cup and handle, you measure the top of the cup to the bottom and you put it on top. How he's getting 137K on this measured move, I don't know. That's not a cup and handle measured move. Unless he's using the depth of the cup, but that's not how you do it, generally. At any rate. But who knows? Yeah, potato, potato. Okay, let's move on, you guys. I think we've unpacked that pretty well. And Bitcoin gurus see the price levels hitting next 100K. Let's see what the gurus think. The gurus, what do they think? Yes. Makes me laugh. Crypto expert, pseudonymous so-and-so. Um, right, Head and Shoulders ripe for failure. Not anymore. Always look at when the article was written, by the way. 6 hours ago, maybe, but as of now, Head and Shoulders looking like it could play out. Analyst, trader analyst, Axel Kibar. Never heard of him. And yeah, you guys, I need your help. Maybe just submit. Go to Cointelegraph and I don't know how you do that. Say, hey, you should have Brett Fogle write an article. That'll be the one I get wrong. No, no, no. Breach result pattern red negation should be. I'm trying to keep these things fun, kind of like Lark Davis. I interviewed him a year for the crypto summit a year ago. He's a good guy. He's got some really good content. You go follow him. He makes it funny. Let's see. Sanction to all times. I don't know. Keybar, who this guy is, 74K. I think I showed that. I don't think it would go below 80, 82, 84K. He's got it wrong. He's not seeing the buyers lining up there. I don't think this guy knows what he's talking about, so let's not listen to him. No offense, Keybar, but I disagree. Bitcoin price rally could accelerated by China's market meltdown. Crypto Observer says, and yeah, flight from China, it's and yada yada yada. So I'm gonna find some other news for us. Czech National Bank overweights Bitcoin future reserve coin strategy. Sure, maybe. Let me do this, you guys. We'll look at XRP in a minute. There was an article I shared in M3 Active Trader today. And also an interesting symbol. This is a glimpse of what you'll see in Active Trader. This is a screenshot from a video, not my video. I gave credits to them in the chat. But essentially, this is interesting. We haven't looked at this Fibonacci time zones. I'll look at this more tomorrow in the M3 class. But it's interesting that from let's see, the halving, right? From the halving point on a Fibonacci timing basis, the short-term peak generally happens at the 2.36 Fibonacci, not one we normally use on price levels, but from timing perspective, that's interesting. Further proof we live in a simulation. But the 382, which is a little bit more prominent and still don't use that much in prices, but on a timing basis. Look at that. was the high in 2013. Same thing having here 2.36, and then the 382 was the high there in 2017. Same thing in 2021. Hmm. Now, in this case, like I said, the real high was in April 2021. The second one was the throw over on the Wyckoff, but this was the 2021 cycle was accelerated with QE money printing COVID money. Okay, so well, otherwise this probably would have been higher, but what they're suggesting here, and this is Camel Finance, just to give credit where credit is due, and it wasn't his chart. He spotted it, but basically 2.316 puts us into March, kind of coincides with my time frames, my studies, and also what Arthur Hayes is saying. So pull back there, and then we see the final push to potentially 200K in October of 2025, but that would mean we'd have to go near vertical from Jan 20 inauguration to March to hit that 150K. Certainly could do it. Then see the pullback. And then, so this is kind of aligning, I mean, let's see. It would be great to go look back and say, hey, we were right. All right, you guys, any questions? Wow, you get 10 chats. I missed a bunch. And squirrel story. Let's see. Wait, someone was kidding. Can we make an indicator for what? The squirrel? Let's see. If I buy, I mean, the Scott indicator. Scott, listen. I've been doing this a long time. There certainly was a time I called it the Brett Fogle contrarian indicator. It's 100% accurate. You have to rewire your brain and what we see as safe, the whole point of the story I didn't finish. When we see what we think is safety is actually it's over. That's when the risk is. But we're not wired that way. We're at wired to see everyone else do it first, make sure the ice doesn't break, and we follow. Make sure the saber-toothed tiger doesn't eat that guy with the that went out there first. But then trading, um, fortune favors the brave, but you need to have at least that's where our technology steps in, kind of to show us what we can't see. And you do need to rewire those pathways, and you'll see it enough times, but you can accelerate it with the signals and these classes. That's why you're here. So basically, but I hear you, Scott, but you'll get there. And no, we won't make the Scott McKay contrarian indicator because I wish we could. Jim Cramer needs one. I know you're kidding there. So, all right. KS saying, I was thinking about Brett's squirrel story. We tend to be more often too cautious squirrel than the brave squirrel. That's the whole point, KS. Yes, we're it's the, um, well, my other squirrel analogy is even a blind squirrel finds a nut once in a while, but that doesn't apply here. You have to be brave. Fortune favors the brave. Be the brave squirrel, but only, with our signals. Give us kind of some, don't be foolish. And anyway, point made. Reframe to the pigeon. Yeah, seeing great more. I'm behind you guys. So zoom out weekly, monthly, XRP, not wrong. Yeah. Let's see. Hadn't slowly covered all that. Amazing advice. Position size, Starlink, Elon's other projects. Make more zombies. What are you we're going on a tangent here today? Thoughts on AI agent coins, what all the new rage will be. Yeah, Pirate J, I'm pretty well versed on AI and agents, and was at an AI mastermind in Tulum this summer, and in a group based out of Miami. They do some interesting sessions. One of which I was at down in Miami about a month or two ago, and I was so high level that the mayor of Miami and Damon John from Shark Tank showed up. So agents, what's coming are swarms. Swarms are pre-programmed groups of agents that work together. Some cross-check and fact-check the other AI agents' work. I know, right? And but there's one technologist in this group who says he has fully automated an entire company, all of the functions with AI agents, an autonomous company. There are reports now of autonomous meme coins and autonomous, Instagrammers. Just they're AI, and they just turn them on, and then one of them's made $1 million already. So. Yeah, we're up against a lot. So, what are my thoughts on AI agent coins? It's worth looking into. If you have any that I know specifically, I'm not familiar with any AI agent coins, Pirate J. If you know of any, let me know. And what's up with Pirate Chain, by the way? It was starting to inch up there for a while, and then sort of. I mean, I know it's kind of low volume, but yeah. So. This thing goes in phases. I was hopeful back here that we nearly got there. Pirate Chain went up there at about 140%. But guys, this is not a recommendation. These things are highly illiquid, and anyway, it was just an excuse to go look at Pirate Chain 'cause it's fun to say pirate anything. And but look, some of these market structures still bullish. I mean, on many of these things, I'm not terribly worried. Anything up today besides USDT dominance, guys? I have a feeling that study is going to play out. It's going to be a couple months later. I'll say I told you so, but I didn't really know, so I won't say that. It'll be that'll be an even a blind squirrel finds a not once in a while moment. Bitcoin down 5,500, selling accelerating, probably capitulations and stop losses. What is the news saying? Nothing's working today. Can't even pull that up. If quantum computing actually gets to a point good enough to crack Bitcoin, KS, we're so far from that. The what was it? Google's Miriam AI. That's not the right one of the something like Mirror, whatever it is. They the speed that they have can't even get close to it. I mean, it's going to require like a massive, like a 10 or 100-fold increase. Now, in all fairness, that same technologist I told you that had automated entire company, his name is Jonathan Rose, brilliant guy. I asked him the same question at this amazing villa in Tulum, and when I met him, and I said, how long do you think before quantum computers will be able to break a crypto or a Bitcoin hash? And he said they're already doing it. But I don't know. I don't know if he really knows that. And there's some, the Bitcoin community, if it gets closer, the problem is we don't know, like, it may or may not be Google or OpenAI or Microsoft that builds one and is public about it first. What if it's China or North Korea and they don't tell? I mean, we know they finance their military basically scamming people out of their Bitcoin. And so that's the scare is if they get there first and then suddenly a bunch of Bitcoin goes missing. Good news for us is they won't be targeting you and me. They'll be going after like bigger companies. But the argument against that too, and this is I think Michael Saylor made that is at that point that the quantum computer will be able to take out Google and Microsoft and government and the grid, right? So we'll start to see signs of these things if we get there well before they start stealing Bitcoin. That's the argument. And then we have bigger problems on our hands. And then we need the aliens. And then they'll show up to save us. So it'll all end. It'll be a happy ending. Ay, ay, ay. Quantum computing actually gets to the point good enough to crack Bitcoin, then all online banking will go down and drain as well. We are far from that. Yeah. So none of the government sales amount to much compared to the market cap. Good point. KS says major miners have been going leverage, raising cash via debt offerings to scoop up more Bitcoin. How are we doing on time, by the way? Okay, I got a 2 o'clock. I gotta be on with Joe. I haven't talked to Joe in a while. And okay, so let's see. Mine cycle basically MicroStrategy, possibly not regular participant. Aggressive selling. So that's a lot to unpack, KS. I'm gonna skip it. Sorry, just suppress rally. I don't know where to go with that. Key is wherever you have, stay silent. Yes, Dr. T. Just because I have to wrap up, KS, it's a good comment. But crypto-related crimes don't compare. 1% fiat was parried, extorted, tortured, killed over anything else. Yeah, look, people torture and kill people for other things too. It's not Bitcoin's fault. Man, I'm not trying to make fun of that. Someday, what a terrifying experience. Can you imagine? The guy said he had they had equipment to if they cut off a limb, they could stop the bleeding. Like who does that? I will say be careful out there, you guys. Desperate times call for desperate measures. There's a tenant next door of ours. She's like a mother to me and just sent me footage that she was robbed a week ago. And they came in and just grabbed a bunch of handbags and ran out. And just fortunately, they didn't threaten to hurt anybody. But Anyway, but I will say that depending where so DC is mostly safe, but I also heard somebody got held at gunpoint down the street recently, and another lady had her. This is an affluent area. Had her handbag taken at maybe gunpoint over at the CVS. The CVS gets robbed every 2 weeks. Desperate times, everyone. Head on a swivel, as Bongino says. Good advice. All right. Not trying to sound like a Trumper. Um, I knew him before he was president, so in all fairness. Anyway, some articles, smart triggers, change the color of the header, place the, what are we saying, Perry? Place content invalidated, articles, smart triggers. Yeah, maybe. That'd be cool. And telling you the news. Yeah, 80% of the news is placed. We know that. Indicators, mining, selling. Yeah. So if we look at the hash ribbon indicator, we could do that, David. Let's see. Bitcoin key facts here. Don't want to see that. I was going to see if there's any relevant news. Bitcoin miners adopting treasury strategy. You guys talked about that. We already talked about this. All right. So let's turn off the key facts. How do you do that? All right. Real quick, we'll do the hash ribbon indicator. How about that? You guys are getting some bonuses today. Usually we look at most of these things in our M3 class, but the hash ribbons. Okay, so basically this is the miners. What are they doing? And sometimes they give us a buy signal. Sometimes they show us capitulation. Excuse me, I have the hiccups. And the Bitcoin hash ribbons indicator is showing us absolutely nothing right now. The last time there was a buy signal when blue was right back here in October of 2024. Great time to buy. Last time they capitulated was back in kind of earlier this year, the summertime, and then buy signal in July of 2024. So the hash ribbon indicator not showing us very much there. And blog article on something hype, Skynet for the loss, not sure. I have my sister calling and I'll call her back. Comment needed. Careful, call friend. Yes, yes, Chaos, good comment. Be careful who we call a friend and what we share with them. Yeah, and yeah, exactly. All right, you guys, let's do this. I promise we'd look at XRP. I know, we don't really look at XRP, but none of you else threw anything else out there. Hype, I'm not going to look at Perry just because it's not easy for us to get here in the US of A. The Skynet, yeah. So XRP, all red on the radar. Looks bearish ERI, bearish TSI, but a lot of buy pressure. So if you want to, there's a big buy money flow block in here. Looks like a bull flag preparing. I know the XRP army. Look at all this money flow in here. Look, I joke about XRP. It's not really fully decentralized. I know some of you don't like it. I get it. But I also will trade sheep or goats if I like the chart, right? My little joke there. But hey, look, if we have a nice little tight bull flag forming, like nice buy support, I would put buy limit orders in here around $2. So $2.15, $2 right at the 50-day EMA. Like with this bearish flag or bearish engulfing candle likely comes down. But what about this, you guys? Flagpole, measured move, potentially. Even at the lower edge of the bull flag, I know some people draw it from the top, but conservatively, that puts XRP over $10. Um, has my attention. I didn't think look, I'm not hating on XRP. If it goes up and I make money, then yeah, the normies like XRP and Dogecoin. Yeah, it's a stretch there. So anyway, let's see. How much time do we have? I do have to get off. I've got to hop off here. If you want to do speed round, yeah. Dogecoin. Yeah. What are you gonna do with Doge? I don't really. That doesn't excite me. Let's see. ETH or Sol better. What's going on here? Let's go back. ETH or Sol. Who's the tallest midget in town today? I'm sorry. That's a very off color joke there, and shouldn't have said that. But anyway, I let it slip out. What do we ETH? I'd say Sol. I mean, ETH is it's struggling at that $4,000 level, and maybe it breaks it, maybe it doesn't, but it's had a couple of attempts. I think Sol and Link I like better than ETH. And let me clean up my chart here. I had done a mini bull flag measured move to 325 on Sol. Sol, I mean, had its head and shoulders here and is sold off. Let me zoom in on that. I like Sol. I mean, my entire IRA is in Sol. It's not huge. I'm be very cautious now that I don't want to be tortured and have you guys cut my limbs off. I know I own no crypto at all, and I like my arms where they are. So, besides good luck, I live in a fortress, top of a building that we own, and I'm heavily defended. I exercise my Second Amendment right. I do have a concealed carry, and I have a pump action weapon in the near vicinity. Okay, that shoots pepper pellets and other things that hurt, but probably won't kill you. I have a firearm that will. Just saying, and I have a license to carry it, and I do on occasion. But so if you come looking for me, you might think twice. All right, guys, I'm out of time. I have to go. You lost your crypto in a boating accident. I would love to hear that story, Perry, but you've got 1 minute, and I gotta go. I'm gonna go make some coffee because I'm talking to Joe here. How do you lose crypto in a boating accident? I'm gonna show you something else real cool though. By the well, maybe I won't show you that. I'm going on a treasure hunt, and one of the pieces of the treasure is a physical Bitcoin. They made 1,600 of them. I'm gonna take a screenshot of it, but it's gonna be washed out. And so it was bought at auction, but they basically give you the keys with it. Look at there. If it hadn't snowed this week, I would have been out looking for it with my buddy who's ex-Marine Corps sniper and very skilled at being in cold environments like Finland. So I'm like, buddy, I need you to take me out and look for this thing. All right, you guys, I got to go. Happy New Year, everybody, and we'll see you in M3 tomorrow. Again, if you haven't already signed up, I see some names that are not in the program. Go over and get the indicators, cryptomastery.org/pro, and or sign up for Moonstream M3. And I emphasize and. Your best chances at making the most out of this market are being in both. All right, you guys, got to go. Bye.